Hi there, I'm Milo Sipka, and this is the Apatros Review. Now in this episode we take a look at a film from the Sci-Fi Invasion box set called Horror High. Now this is also known as Kiss the Teacher Goodbye and Twisted Brain. This film came out in 1973. In fact, it had its premiere in Irving, in Texas, in the United States, on the 20th of September 1973. Then in Corsicana, in Texas, on the 4th of October 1973. And then it went to general release around March 1974. Now it's an American film, theatrically released. The director was Larry N. Stoffer. The screenplay was by J.D. Figleson. Produced by James P. Graham and Tom Moore. Photography was by Janice P. Boltenbergs. Music by Don Hulett. Edited by Travis Rhodes. And art direction was by Joe Tompkins. The cast includes Pat Cardy, Austin Stoker, Rosie Holotnik, John Nyland, Joy Hash, Jeff Alexander, and Mike McHenry. Now, like I said, this is part of the 50 film box set Sci-Fi Invasion from Mill Creek. Easily one of Mill Creek's most infamous sets. Pretty much every critic on YouTube has tackled that set at one point or another. Now, the print quality here is surprisingly rough for a Crown International movie, but I'll elaborate on the possible reason why in my review. Now, for the synopsis. A teenage high school student is experimenting on creating a serum that will amplify the metabolic changes in his biology class guinea pigs, but his teachers and classmates are all dismissive of him, calling him a creeper and a freak. When the school janitor forces the student to drink his own serum, it transforms him into a mutant with heightened aggression, which he uses as a perfect opportunity to avenge his suffering at the hands of his tormentors. This was the 1973 driving fodder from Crown International, the infamous purveyors of plenty of cinematic schlock from the 1960s to the end of the 1980s, all destined to go directly to your local drive-in cinema. I've been to drive-ins personally at least thrice. The first films I saw at such places was a double bill of the medical drama Awakenings and Batman Returns. Batman Returns was actually the second time I saw Batman Returns. The first time was about a week or two before, and that was the first film I ever saw in the cinema. Now, with the case of Horror High, Crown bought an indie teenage adaptation of the classic The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and since the original movie was given an R rating by the MPA, in Australia that would be equivalent to an MA15 rating. The Australian R is equivalent to the American NC-17. Anyway, Crown decided to cut the 3 instances of gore featured in the film to downgrade it to a PG rating and edited in a newly shot scene of completely different unrelated characters to show up the running time. So to be honest, there's 3 versions of this film in existence. The first is the original R-rated version, the second is the PG version, and the third is was released to German VHS, which was basically the R-rated print with the extra scene added in. So there's actually 3 versions of this. Now, to be honest, this is actually a pretty decent film, which is a surprise for Crown movies. Not a classic by any measure, but one of those flicks you can pop into the VCR, DVD player, or Blu-ray player, or any other device you watch this film on, grab some popcorn, your favorite beverage, personally I'll pick an iced coffee, and sit down on your trusty couch to watch and enjoy. Or laugh your ass off if you're a professional heckler or hardcore bad movie masochist. Or for, like I said, this ain't technically a bad film. Now, Horror High is extremely low budget, but the director manages to write a story that just about anyone who's ever survived the years of high school can relate to. The protagonist is a good-natured soul who just happens to have an absolutely awful teacher who has a habit of destroying a student's papers with a paper guillotine that she keeps on desk. By the way, if I had a teacher in my high school back in the years 1998 to 2003 who took my assignments for other classes and sliced them in half, the first thing I would do would be to report said teacher to the principal for professional misconduct, followed by heading to my other class and telling the teacher that my assignment was destroyed. It's not why I would regard being a snitch, but rather an important thing to do as my grades will be seriously at risk. I've actually dealt with teachers with certain assignments when I was in high school. There's been quite a few cases. Anyway. Now, there is no malicious element to the protagonist's actions. He's purely just revenging himself on his tormentors, and the deaths are telegraphed so far ahead you'll be able to spot them if your DVD player is in Siberia and you're all the way south in Antarctica. That's how easily telegraphed this is. Austin Stoker, who played the heroic sheriff in Assault on Precinct 13, the John Carpenter original one by the way, returns here playing another investigating detective, and all the cast play their roles with professional relish, despite the cheap nature of the exercise. Horror High has earned itself a C+, 5 out of 10 on my grading ladder. It's an okay little indie teenage horror thriller with a surprisingly solid storyline, only slightly undone due to the lack of polish. This is indeed a rough gem in Crown International's catalogue. Normally they have bad movies, and they have so bad they're good. This one's legitimately decent. Now, for going nudity. There's no nudity in this flick, But in the uncut version, there are occasional moments of gore. A janitor melted down to the bone in the barrel acid, that nasty bitch of a teacher decapitated by her own paper guillotine, and some bloke getting stomped to death. The gore isn't that great, but it's okay enough. Now for the DVD. When Mill Creek acquired the entire Crown International catalogue, they had access to many pristine prints of several Crown features that they straight up plonked onto their many sets. Horror High, however, is one of the exceptions. The print here is surprisingly shoddy, but this is probably due to the fact that this print is the original uncut version of the movie, and Crown's techs decided not to waste their time maintaining this one. So I guess the cut version will be in much better condition. That being said, the clarity is legible enough, so you can see what is going on, although I can't notice the shadow detail is sorely lacking, so you'll be having problems watching certain dark scenes. If you're a fan of the film and want an uncut version of this one, then the Sci-Fi Invasion print is definitely one to go to. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Now, if you have any questions, just hit me in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer. Hope you guys are staying safe, and that's it for this review. See ya.